Back to events in Turkey. Let's return to the referendum in Turkey, where the decision to give President Recep Erdogan new sweeping powers has been described as the most important reform in the country's history. Live pictures from the capital. This is where the opposition, who have been fairly disunited in recent times, to coalesce around a legal challenge, perhaps, and certainly they've been critical of the narrow victory won by President Erdogan. We've got a translator in place as soon as that press conference begins. We'll take at least part of it. In the meantime, we're going to go live to Ankara. Demir Murat Seyrek is a senior policy advisor at the European Foundation for Democracy. Welcome to you. What can the opposition do, if anything?
I think there's not much to do. They will certainly oppose the decision, and especially controversial decisions of the Electoral Board yesterday. But I don't think this will really change the result. And obviously, this will have major consequences for Turkish democracy. But also, we need to see that the opposition does not really see it as a defeat. And that's also why I think we need to see that most of those analyses in the West is partially wrong, because I don't think there's really the death of Turkish democracy, because Turkish Democrats are still there and they are very hopeful indeed. They're certainly sad and disappointed, but they also see that despite all major problems during the campaign period and all these controversial decisions yesterday, the constitutional changes were indeed backed by only slim majority. So this means that there's still hope, and the opposition can still change things in Turkey. And that's why I think they will be really seeing this as an opportunity, this 49%, and working on this.
Can we just talk a little bit about the result itself and what lessons we can learn from the way Turkey operates and thinks about big questions? I mean, there was a big rural-urban split, wasn't there? I mean, clearly Istanbul and Ankara, Izmir, elsewhere voted against what the president wanted. Rural Anatolia heavily in favour.
Certainly. First of all, this certainly was not a victory President Erdogan was looking for, because when we consider the political parties backing this reform, was indeed 61.5% AKP plus nationalist MHP, but we see only 51% support. And also the big cities, as you mentioned, were lost. And this is a major blow indeed to AKP, because when we indeed look at the rise of Erdogan, we see that in 1994 in the local elections, Erdogan's former party, Refah Party, won both Istanbul and Ankara. And in the last 23 years, it's first time indeed, they are losing Ankara and Istanbul. And this is certainly a major blow. I mean, Erdogan even lost in his own constituency in Istanbul. And he's also losing, I think, both urban population, but as well as also young people and educated people. And obviously, only with the support of rural areas, this cannot be sustainable. We need to understand this. And secondly, this will have also consequences for the opposition, because I think that the biggest loser of this referendum process was the MHP leader, Devlet Bahçeli, because indeed his yes campaign was not supported by his voters. So what will happen now? Either he will lose his position, or the opposition figures within his party will form a central-right political party with the participation of some other central-right political figures in Turkey. So this could also be a new hope, because there will be new formations, at least one political party, but there we can also see some other changes in the opposition, because this campaign period also created its own leaders and heroes as well within the opposition.
Well, you mentioned the opposition, Demir Murat Seyrek. Well, thank you, and go to that press conference in Ankara, the opposition giving their perspective today.